I remember the feeling exactly, and it wasn't a scream or a fight or one of those moments when he crushed my world with words that hurt like invisible slaps. It was just silence. A different kind of silence, heavy, but not the kind of weight he put on me. This was another kind of weight, one that came from inside, as if something in me was finally tired of being quiet. That morning began like so many others. He was already irritated before even opening his eyes, as if the simple fact that I existed was an offense. I walked through the house with calculated steps, trying to predict his mood just by the sound of his breathing. That had become routine. My entire body mapped danger before my mind even realized it. That was how I survived in there, guessing storms. But that morning, something was wrong. Alright, I still don't know for sure. The house was immersed in an almost tangible silence, and for the first time, that silence wasn't fear. It was restlessness, discomfort, like when you know you forgot something important but can't remember what it is. All I know is that when I looked out the window and saw the cold light slipping through a crack in the curtain, I felt a new kind of unease, as if the light itself was exposing something I didn't yet understand. As I prepared his coffee the way he demanded, because if it was a millimeter off, it was enough to turn into hours of accusations, my chest began to tighten, not from fear, it was something else. An internal noise I could no longer ignore. My body trembled slightly, and for a moment I thought it was just another warning sign. But it wasn't. It was as if a part of me was moving after a long time asleep, an emotional muscle I hadn't used in years. I tried to shut that feeling down like I always did. I took a deep breath, shrank inward, reminded myself of my automatic script. Stay quiet, don't react. Do what he wants, it'll pass, it'll pass. But this time, it didn't pass. The more I tried to erase myself, the stronger that sensation became. And then something so simple happened that it broke me from the inside. I spilled a little coffee on the edge of the cup, just a little. And I realized that I didn't care, I didn't panic. I didn't feel the need to clean it quickly before he saw. I didn't feel that familiar automatic desperation. I just looked. I looked at the spilled coffee and realized, for the first time in a long time, that my fear didn't rush in to warn me of anything. It didn't shake me. It didn't push me back into the place of submission where I had lived for years. It was as if my fear was silent, and that silence disturbed me. I felt strange, almost out of place inside my own survival routine. And when he came down the stairs and started talking without really looking at me, complaining about imaginary things, about my voice, my way of being, my silence, I realized something was missing. Something that had always been there, the noise of fear inside me, but it didn't show up. Instead, another feeling rose up, shy but present, as if an inner voice was watching me and asking, "Why are you still here?" I swallowed hard, because that question was dangerous. It was the kind of question that could dismantle everything I had built just to endure that relationship. I tried to push the thought away, but it came back. It came back several times throughout the morning, as if it were testing my courage to answer. And the more he talked, the more I realized it was my own mind that was different, not him. He was the same as always, controlling, cold, demanding, ready to turn any detail into a reason to diminish me. The difference was that I no longer felt that automatic panic. It was as if I were seeing everything from the outside, as if for the first time I was seeing that man without the filter of fear. And when you look without fear, the monster loses half its size. While he spoke, I heard my breathing. I heard my body. I heard my thoughts. And everything seemed to say the same thing. This is not life. That sentence echoed inside me as if someone had whispered it directly into my ear. And I almost turned around to see who it was. Suddenly, a scene flashed through my mind, like a memory that wasn't a memory, but a desire. I saw myself opening a door, leaving that house, walking down the street, feeling the wind hit my face without fear of coming back. It was fast, but strong enough to take my breath away. I placed my hands on the sink, and it was there, with the smell of still hot coffee rising and the sound of someone who heard me talking in the background, that I realized my silence was no longer submission. It was discomfort. It was a warning. It was the beginning of something. I thought I was going crazy because after so long living in fear, any sign of courage feels like a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake. It was a calling. Almost imperceptible, but persistent. The truth is, my courage didn't appear suddenly. It had always been there. It was just buried under years of fear, guilt, manipulation, and survival. And that morning, something inside me began to move the earth that covered it. I didn't say anything. I didn't talk back. I didn't cry. I didn't defend myself. But he noticed. Men like that always notice when something changes, especially when that change means they are losing control. He looked at me with that irritated expression I knew so well, but for the first time, I didn't lower my eyes. And it was in that micro gesture, in that almost invisible moment, that everything began. The day my courage finally spoke louder began right there. In the silence, in the discomfort, in the coffee that spilled and didn't scare me, in the crack of light through the window like an accusation, in the inner voice I had forgotten existed. And when I realized it, I understood that house still held me, but my soul, my body, my silence were already beginning to leave. If this story is touching you, comment below where you're watching from and what time it is there. And if you want to keep following this journey, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. In the next video, in the next section of this story, or perhaps the next series, you'll see what happens when silence turns into action and courage finally demands to be heard.